What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of Merricks Garage. Today, well, we're gonna go for a little walk around the compound, and I'm gonna show you guys what's going on down here at the Squarebody Collective. I apologize in advance that the videos have not been coming fast and frenzied like they used to, but I'm slammed, and I want to show you guys what's going on. We got a couple of project builds in here. I've got some new products that I'm working on coming out. We've got some killer rigs that are going to be going up for sale, and the shop is really coming into its own. I can't wait to share it with you guys. Let's go get it. So I figured I'm just going to walk around. Ryan's got the camera right now, so he's just going to follow me. And I'll show you guys what's going on. It is a mess, though, because we're working in here. Watch out, there's a box there. So, yeah, a lot of stuff over here. We have a transmission that needs to be rebuilt to probably go in the dually. KC lights, I'm working on a rack for that will allow it to mount on the roof. I know a lot of you guys have asked me about that, so I will hopefully soon, maybe next week, have those available. The seat brackets are still selling well. I've got to get these shipped out today. Front seat brackets, rear seat brackets for your Squarebody to upgrade your seating. This is our live stream studio, I think you could call it. We've broken down all the pallets that we get, and we're starting to just decorate the walls with it, and it looks rad. I think we're gonna come through and scorch it with a flame to make it look even cooler, but I'm really digging how this is coming out. And hey, if you guys have any cool memorabilia, like license plates or badges or anything like that, I would dig it if you guys wanted to help me fill up the wall. I'll put my address down below, and hey, let's see what we can get. But it would be rad to have a bunch of different license plates or just old school Squarebody memorabilia up here. This is obviously where we're going to be doing all the live streaming and my talking head type stuff. Engine right here, LQ9 engine that's going in, or actually this is an LQ4, going in Carl's white Blazer. If you haven't seen the videos on this, I'll link those up here so you can go check those out. This is going to be a killer build. This is out of a project truck of his. It's been fully gone through cam, top end, bottom end, and it's getting a ton of cool Holley gear. The Magnum 205 down below. So a rebuilt 205 transfer case with the off-road design Magnum box up front. What else we got? Well, don't look in here too much because it's a disaster, but this is going to be the studio eventually. Hopefully we'll have some time here to get it going, but I want to move everything in there and be able to just bang out videos and do post-production and editing all here. And then moving this way, this is obviously the main shop area. So this is where all of the cleaner work, less of the dirty work happens here. So this is where we're going to be doing engine upgrades, suspension upgrades, anything that doesn't require a ton of fab is going to happen over here. I like to keep this area as clean as I can. I mean, it's messy, but it's clean. And then once a week, we try and bang through and just get everything cleaned up. Oh, real quick, I do want to pump two Milwaukee things that have been sent to me recently. This is the new Milwaukee shop vac, and it's rad. I mean, yes, I am a partner for Milwaukee, so full disclosure, they do send me this stuff, but the way the system is thought out is actually pretty dope. All the attachments go in these little luggage cases on top. So you've got tons of different attachments, and it's all in some nice, neat, battery-powered unit. And speaking of battery-powered, Milwaukee's been working on additional pack-out stuff, including battery storage, but they've got these mounting racks now that I'm scattering all over the shop that just allow you to just store stuff on vertical space, which in any shop, storage is always at a premium, and the pack-out stuff We've got the rolling cabinets. Now we've got stuff mounted on the walls that works killer. The Blazer. What's going on with the Blazer? What have I done to this recently? I did the big brake upgrade, and my transmission stopped leaking, so I haven't dealt with that yet because it fixed itself. This guy does need some TLC, but it also needs to get out on the trail and do some wheeling, because it's been since Sand Hollow that this thing saw any real action. We're gonna get to this guy in a minute. I hope you guys saw the video last week on this guy, but we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Moving over into this area, this is our main tool work area. I've got this lev rack system, which is absolutely killer because you can stack all the shelves in here, everything slides, and I just have tons of storage for parts, supplies, materials, cabling, fluids. This is just a really cool, just space saver. You know, you utilize the space completely with a setup like this. The tool storage right here. We've got our security system so we can see what's going on, because we are kind of tucked out of the way, so I can peek around and see who's doing what up in my neck of the woods. This, believe it or not, is supposed to be my technical electrical bench, where I do electrical work, soldering, you know, wiring projects, things like that. It's messy, but it works. And storage lockers. Once again, you can see this is a working shop. I mean, by the end of the day, the last thing we really want to do is clean, and so Fridays are usually the day that we get everything cleaned up. 1, 2 storage trays. I scored these things off Craigslist. They were like 50 bucks a piece, which is just unheard of. And the fit is absolutely perfect. I know that's a small detail, but this makes me so happy just how close these things came. And Craigslist, don't underestimate finding stuff on Craigslist. I find so much used stuff, it's unreal. Moving down along the sides, got our steel area. This is where I store a lot of the brackets that we're building and a lot of my DOM tubing and just basic tubing that we're going to need for the projects we're doing, whether it's a roll cage, whether it's a cross member, whether it's a bracket of some sort. All our tubing and everything stays over here. Moving down, we've got this is the axle rack. The shop is dangerous, right? Ryan's not paying attention to the shop right now. This is the axle rack where I'm putting my to be rebuilt and rebuilt Dana 60. So we've only got one Dana 60 on here right now because they're over on the other side, on the dirty side. Various other stuff. We've got the spring compressor. This is so we don't die. The other spring compressors you can get are literal widowmakers. So we invested in a nice spring compressor because the alternative kind of sucked. Then what else do we got? Let's take a look out in the shed area. 2 containers full of parts. That one has a ton of steel in it that we use, sheet, things like that, spare tires, a lot of square body parts that belong to the various builds in this area. We've got a killer AAM 10.5 for Ryan that's going in the back of his Colorado. He did a nice shave kit on it. It's got an ARB kit, dual piston disc brakes, parking brake, and yeah, this thing is going to be pretty rad when it goes in. And 456 or 410? 456 gearing in here. Shell off the double down. The military trailer that you guys haven't seen in years, but it's still here. It just needs some love too. My collection of first gen roofs up on the top. Can never say no to a free roof, which is exactly what one of those was. Some dude saw my shop and he was down here fixing glass for a buddy, and he's like, hey, do you need a convertible roof? And I'm like, yes I do. So pick that guy up. Let's move back inside. We're now entering the dirty side. Yeah, no duh, right? Look, it's a disaster in here. But we've got the square body Dana 60 rebuild area going on. So I've got 2 Dana 60s under various degrees of rebuild. This is obviously my closest. This one is spoken for already. Getting ready to throw all new bearings and seals and everything in there. Ratios aren't changing, but if you're looking for a Dana 60, I do have them and I am selling them. Don't get all mad, but I'm selling them fully rebuilt, and they're going for between 4 and 5K depending on how you want them built. I know people are gonna freak out about that, but everyone can go find one of these things on Craigslist and do all the hunting and do the driving and do the digging and then tear it down and rebuild it yourself. If you don't wanna go that route, I got you covered. And moving along, we got another Magnum over here. Another Magnum 205 that is going in my buddy Brian's burnt blazer, we'll call this. Now, this is the project that I've dubbed Lieutenant Dan, because it ain't got no legs. But we're fixing that. This was a nightmare to tow down to the shop because it didn't have any legs, but it's here. And we're actually making some good progress on it. Ryan has blasted the frame and cleaned off all the crap so we can start just welding brackets on. And Brian bought all the stuff, so we've got the Magnum, we've got the ORD kit, we've got the Fox coilovers ready to go back in, and yeah, then we've got our oil contaminated area with the drip tray and various buckets of fluids, and then a Dana 70 going in on the rear that I've got I don't know what I need to do. We need to do something about how this was welded on, but I'll get to that later. Dana 70, Dana 60, and dude, he runs 40-inch bias ply IROCs on military beadlocks. So this thing is gonna be a pig, but it's gonna be pretty awesome when it's all done. Speaking of all done, let's show you what we've got done on it so far. Got the links in and set. We're gonna be working a little bit on some more of the getting the angles right and getting the lengths right, but they're rough and mocked in. This week I finished putting in the shock towers and the cross support. It's moving along pretty well now that we're able to dedicate some time to it. This guy unfortunately has been in the shop for a while. And then obviously this is the fab side of the shop, so it's dirty. We've got this big built steel table that most of our projects happen on. The welding table where we can weld fixtures and jigs and everything, or fixate fixtures and jigs on here. Then moving back, press, doubling as a press brake. This is how we're able to, where is that? Do we still know where? No, I'm looking for that U-joint what we had. We pressed out an old U-joint. Anyway, this is where we're destroying U-joints. Actually, perfect right here. So we're rebuilding the Dana 60s and going through anything that's bad with them, including replacing the U-joints. These ones were thrashed. So pulled out the U-joints, replace the seals if necessary, and keep the mudslinger if they're not bad, and throw those guys back in there. So you can see a whole lot of dirty work going on here. Parts washer, full of nastiness, but it's better to be in there than on the parts we're trying to deal with. My belt sander, very much in need of a new belt, but this guy is huge. The amount of grinding that I used to do by hand that can now be done by the belt sander a lot more precisely is really killer. My old school welding table that Elijah at Nocturnal Welding built for me, this is still my heavy workhorse because it goes everywhere. It's got the bandsaw built into it, it's got the vise built into it, and it's a clean, perfect welding spot. Drill press, more of that Milwaukee stuff. We're still trying to figure that stuff out, but it's pretty dope in the fact that you got everything from these little cubbies to stuff to hold everything. So yeah, that's the inside. Let's take a walk around the outside of the shop and I'll show you what we got going on in the yard. Actually, while we're here, let's talk about Double Down. Since you guys last saw it, Double Down received a full detail. I'm gonna pop the hood real quick. But Double Down received a full detail, a full wash, wax. We had the whole thing clay barred and polished and buffed. And the paint, I mean, it really does just feel like glass. I mean, I'm in love with this truck. I don't need it. It needs to be sold, but it's gonna be very difficult to sell when I do. And that's what a 100,000-mile Michigan Detroit diesel engine looks like. The previous owner, Robert, took incredible care of this thing, and I did choose to get it dry ice blasted to remove what little crud there was on there. So if I do decide to do an engine swap down the road, it'll be a lot easier and cleaner, or it's just nice to have a clean engine to work on. Now the bad news. Someone hit Double Down this week. I was in the DMV parking lot and someone backed into it. And of course, they're gonna hit the one part that is difficult to find, the fiberglass fenders. So fortunately, the guy had insurance. He came and found me. We're getting it dealt with, but that was a punch to the gut. But anyway, we're getting it fixed, and what we're gonna do is Ryan unbolted everything. So the bed actually is free of the cab right now. So we're gonna run this thing over and drop off the bed over at my buddy's body shop, and we're gonna get the bed treated, we're gonna get the panels painted, and with the insurance money, obviously, we're gonna be able to fix this. It also gives us an opportunity to really take a good look at what the frame's like underneath. We've spent hours under it already cleaning off the scale and rust, and it's looking pretty dang good. But by pulling off the bed, it just gives us an opportunity or an excuse to really go to town, to rhino line this thing, to fix anything that we see, clean off all the scale, replace all the body bushings, replace all the hangers and any rubber that may have perished over the 30 years that this thing has been in existence, and just make this thing just pop. I'm in love with this truck. I truly am. We threw these 37-inch military tires on. We got the windows tinted this week, so it's got a beautiful, murdered out look to it. And I think that's what we're gonna do with this guy. This guy's gonna get murdered out. So black on black on black. And yeah. If no one buys it, that's fine by me. We'll take it to auction in a couple of years after I've driven it for about 100,000 miles. But let's take a walk around outside. I'll show you what the latest is. The Squarebody Burb. Squarebody Burb has thrown some curveballs at me over the last few months. I was supposed to go up and do some trails up in Fresno, Yosemite area, and towing up over a pass right by me, it overheated gloriously, just massive overheating. I realized I wasn't making the trip, so I came home, pulled the old radiator, which was pretty much done, and dropped in a new, it's actually a Summit Squarebody reissue. So it looks like the old school Squarebody radiators. It's a 3-core, it's a lot, the volume on this compared to what I had in before is substantial. But the big news was suspension. I threw in some ADS 2.5-inch shock absorbers, and these were valved by ADS specifically for the Burb. So fortunately, one of the main tuners over at ADS, he has a 2500 with a diesel in it, so he knows what he's talking about, and he knows the kind of weight that we're dealing with. You've got probably 250 pounds in tires, another 600 or 700 pounds in axle, and 1,200 pounds in engine sitting right here over these springs. And the Bilstein 5125s, as good as they are, just could not keep up. So it's driving like a dream. I'll have a video for you guys coming up on that soon. It was supposed to be done today, but it didn't happen. So let's take a walk around the yard and I'll show you some of the other goods. We've got Ready Rig ZR2. Here, let me I'm gonna film you for a second. What are you doing to it?
What do I do with my hands?
What do you do with your hand? Here. Hold that.
Yeah, the mic, the old mic. No, right now it's just kind of waiting to be set up with the 14 bolt in the rear. That'll happen. I've got new tires coming. What else?
Replace that? I mean,
No, this adds character. This is trail damage.
is that a speed hole?
Yeah, that's wind. You know, keep the back end of the truck cool. Yeah, so it's all stock axles right now. I'm throwing in the 1 ton in the rear. I plan on keeping the IFS in the front. Gonna 1 ton that, but it's gonna stay 1 ton IFS, which it's blowing everybody's mind. But gonna do that. It's got plans for a slip yoke eliminator and a double cardan drive shaft and all kinds of fun stuff, but that's when I get some money. Definitely.
This guy's a diesel.
Yeah, it's a little 4-cylinder diesel. Not a whole lot of horsepower, but I still get a lot of torque. Running 456 gears, and I can run, let's see, about 60 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour, and still get 30 miles per gallon. So when I'm going to the trails, I get really good fuel mileage. And I love this thing. It's crazy. It might get a doubler, so I'll have to do all that before I, do all the double cardan drive shaft and all that. But yeah, made a little light bracket for it. This is all handmade, but I want to design it so that it can be made by a machine and kind of produced and stuff like that. So maybe that'll be coming out soon. But yeah, that's about it.
Thank you for the mic. Okay. Let's walk down to the end, and then we'll work our way back. These shipping containers are clutch. The plan is going to be get these guys a little bit closer together, and then put like a carport or some sort of covered parking here, just so we can keep vehicles outside and not just have the weather beat down on them. But let's start down here. This is my business partner's 89 Bronco. I don't know what we're doing with it yet. It's got the twin traction beam, which is pretty cool. It had a bunch of stuff done to it already. It's pretty rough. It hasn't been used that much in a long time, so that needs some TLC. My daily driver M3, well, not so much of a daily driver anymore. This thing has 200,000 miles on it though, so that's my baby, and I just like to keep the miles low. And then the 74 Burb. This came with Double Down, the diesel dually. The gentleman who sold me that also had this. He had a lot of stuff, but he asked me if I wanted this, and I said, yeah, this is great. It's got a big block in it. It's got a Dana 44 up front, 14 bolt full float in the rear, 205, and it's the body's done. This is rust that I'm not used to seeing. I mean, dude, look at this. Like, take a look through the door. I wonder if the window works. Holy cow.
Yeah. Oh, man.
But here, look at the dash. Look at the cluster. It has a factory tack on the cluster. Now I'm gonna get like 30 emails saying, give me the cluster. No, it's mine, it's awesome. It's gonna go in one of the builds. But yeah, just a rad old truck with the killer old school hubcaps and these old school tires that just never ever wear out. Traction is not their main priority, but they'll never wear out. And then I've got a Cuck V frame and a Cuck V body. So this was another Army truck that got painted. I picked it up because it's a diesel VIN. And for those of you in California, you know what that means. So it's got some bucket racing seats in it. It's the solid 1-ton frame. And a lot of what I'm buying, a lot of what you'll see hanging around the yard, I'm not looking to just pick up your standard Suburban or your standard Blazer. There's tons of those out there. I'm trying to find the stuff that's a little bit more hard to find, you know, like the Cuck V's or a 1-ton frame or a diesel dually or a single cab dually, because those are the ones that take a lot more time to find, and down the road, I'm hoping to build some of these out. Everything is for sale though. It pains me to say that, but after the spending spree I went on over the past year, it's time to let some of this go to a good home. So if you're looking for a project, hit me up. I most likely have or know where I could find what you're looking for, whether it's a diesel titled pickup truck or a diesel titled Blazer or a first gen square body. I have that stuff, and if I don't build it, it's gonna be sold. Trailer. This trailer is kicking butt. I haven't done anything on this trailer yet for you guys, but this is an Iron Bull 2022, 10,000, actually no, it's more than that. This is like a 15,000 pound trailer. It's massive. It's got the tilt deck. My tires on the Blazer actually fit between the wheel wells, and it tows like a dream. Electric brakes, got the Dexter axles, 8 lug. This thing's awesome. Then moving down, here is the Row O Square. Got an 86 Blazer that literally just showed up in the shop one day. I came to work, and a friend of a friend of a friend had heard that I was building square bodies, and he had AAA tow this to my yard. So I drove in the gate, and there was a Blazer parked in the back, and I'm like, I've never heard from the guy. It's been over a year. So I'm claiming finders keepers on this one. And I think one of my sons has his eyes on it and wants to do something with it, which will be pretty cool. Cuckvy, this is the military M1008. This is the 1.25 ton military K30 that was produced. It's got a 6.2 diesel in it. It's got a Dana 60 with 456 gearing up front. 14 bolt full floater with a Detroit locker in the rear, and the same frame as we just saw around the corner. This is awesome. I'm in love with this truck. This is going to be Merricks Garage work truck, I think. Unless I build one of the other ones, because I got some more cool ones. This is my buddy Carl's Blazer that he's been working on most weekends. He's been out of town for about a month, but dude is making the trip up from Orange County to my shop up here on the Central Coast every weekend and spending Saturday and Sunday hammering out stuff, doing the engine swap, LS swap, dash, Magnum, and a ton of other cool things on this guy. And then let's just blast through what I got here. 76 long bed, Dana 44, 14 bolt, clean, straight cab. Most likely a parts truck. 73 first gen Blazer, or actually this is a second gen technically, but this is when the square bodies really started. And this guy's rough, but it's titled, it's registered. I've got the roof, I've got the frame, I've got the panels. This just needs to get smashed with like 3 other trucks and have one truck emerge at the end. I've got my 1990 Suburban parts truck it's got everything on it. It's just the interior is pretty destroyed, which is kind of why I relegated it to parts truck. And then down at the end, that is a dually single cab. And I couldn't say no to this guy just because look at it, it's rad. Big Brown has a super straight, clean cab. It had a 454 in it, but it's got a Dana 60 up front, Dana 70 in the rear. It's got the AC cab, so you can put AC in it if you want to. No rust, nothing gnarly going on, and a 1-ton frame. So, yeah. Needless to say, there's a lot of projects. I've had several customers in that we've been doing rebuilds and upgrades and modifications on. I've been working on getting the light bar brackets that you guys have asked for fully designed and starting to get those mass produced. Picked up that double down, which was just a huge score, and we're hard at work on that one. In addition to just trying to make videos for you guys, showing you how-tos. And so today, you just get this walk around, unfortunately. But I hope you guys found this interesting. I'm I'm always welcome to have people come down here. If you want to look, my address will be down below. We welcome people to come hang out. Just understand that we are a working shop, and so we can't always just drop everything. But yeah, I've listed a bunch of videos down below. I'll throw a couple more up here. If you aren't subscribed, make sure to give me a subscribe and a follow. It helps bump the numbers, and that's always what YouTube does. The more stuff we have, the more they promote it all over the place, or at least that's what I heard. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Merricks Garage.